Curtis, if the Beverly Hillbillies is correct, you, I believe, will have won more on a game show than anybody in the history of game shows.
I'd like that.
Tonight, a special 2-hour event, the biggest game show ever, a $2 million win, Greed, starting right now on Fox.
From Los Angeles, it's the biggest game show in television history, where one person, in one night, could walk away with $2 million. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Greed.
Hey everyone, I'm Ben Schneider. And a while ago, I made a video on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I mostly talked about the decline of the syndicated version, but I also briefly talked about the show's meteoric rise in primetime with Regis Philbin starting in 1999. And the show was so successful that it actually inspired a wave of competitors on the other major networks. NBC revived 21 with Maury Povich, while CBS brought in Dick Clark as they imported winning lines from the UK. But Fox decided to go with an original and create Greed, which is honestly one of my all-time favorite game shows. So today, join me for a look back at what I believe was the best answer to the success of Millionaire. Greed premiered on Fox on November 4th, 1999. It was hosted by game show legend Chuck Woolery, who had previously hosted the original Wheel of Fortune, Love Connection, Scrabble, The Dating Game, Lingo, and GSN's hilariously awful $1 Million Cat game show Think Like a Cat. A future episode of Greed would also remind us that he did not host Singled Out.
$25,000. Is it Wheel of Fortune? Well, what? The shortest, you have, congratulations, the team that lasted the shortest of anybody in the history of Greed on my question. Of course, it would be me. I did Wheel of Fortune. I didn't do Singled Out. We're going to take a commercial.
Greed was called the richest, most dangerous game in America. And there was good reason for that, because Fox doubled down on the $1 million prize ABC was offering with Millionaire. Greed offered its contestants a chance at over $2 million. The top prize was actually nearly won very early on in the show's run by Dan Avila. But Dan's actually going to get his own video, because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to his appearance on Greed. Unlike Millionaire, which saw only one contestant play at a time, Greed consisted of a team of 5 contestants working together to move up the money ladder. The show would begin with a total of 6 contestants competing in a qualifying question, which would have a numerical answer between 10 and 999. The 6 contestants would lock in their answers on a keypad, and the player whose guess was furthest away from the correct answer would be eliminated before the game even began. The contestant whose guess was closest to the correct answer would be positioned as team captain. The money tree only consists of 8 questions. The first 4 have only one right answer, the last 4 each have 4 right answers. Questions 1 through 4 are worth $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, and $100,000 to split evenly among the team. The $25,000 question is answered by the team's 5th contestant, which is whoever was furthest away from the answer to the qualifying question. The $50,000 question is answered by the contestant whose answer was next closest, and so on through the $100,000 level. If any of the 4 contestants gives an answer the captain thinks is wrong, the captain has the power to reject that answer and go with one of their own. Once the team reaches question 5, the values of each question rise up to $200,000, $500,000, $1 million, and the top prize of $2 million. But bigger money brings added difficulty. As previously mentioned, contestants now have to find 4 correct answers to each question. The $200,000 level is 4 out of 6, and a new incorrect answer is added at each level. Should a contestant reach the final question, they're faced with having to find 4 correct answers out of 9 possible choices. Now there's one important distinction between Greed and Millionaire. There are no guaranteed winnings for reaching a certain milestone. If at any point the team gives an incorrect answer, or fails to find all 4 correct answers, they lose everything and go home with no money at all. The only sort of lifeline a team is given is their freebie, which can be used by the captain to eliminate one incorrect answer during any of the 4 final questions. Hey, they don't call it the most dangerous game in America for nothing. A team of 5 working together to answer these 4 questions might not sound so difficult, but there's a brand new element of the game that's introduced at the $200,000 level, and that's the Terminator. The Terminator randomly selects one of the 5 contestants and offers them $10,000 win or lose to go head-to-head in a one-question showdown with one of their teammates. It's better strategy to have more teammates around to help for the last few questions, but the monetary incentive is hard to pass up. Not only is the $10,000 guaranteed, the winner of the Terminator showdown also acquires the loser's share of the prize money. So for example, at the $200,000 level, the winner of a Terminator challenge is playing for 2/5 of the pot, $80,000, while the rest of the team plays for $40,000. This makes calling out and challenging a teammate an opportunity that's hard to pass up, especially since there are no safe havens on the money tree. Chuck gives the contestant a 10 grand right then and there, and it's theirs to keep no matter what happens at the end of the game. Because of the Terminator, the higher level questions often resulted in the elimination of team members. The $200,000 level would almost always see 4 contestants remaining rather than the 5 that began the game. The $500,000 level would oftentimes only have 3 contestants remaining. So not only do the questions get tougher as there are now more answers to choose from, there are also fewer contestants working together to continue the game. Regardless of that, the captain retains the greatest amount of power all throughout the game. It's ultimately their decision whether the team takes the money and goes home, or risks it all to play on. This is the case until the $1 million level at question 7. The captain decides whether or not to play the question, but if 3 correct answers are revealed, each member gets to decide individually if they want to take a buyout or play on and reveal their 4th answer. If it's correct, the contestants win the $1 million prize, and as always, if it's incorrect, they leave with nothing. Before the $2 million question, each team member is asked once again if they want to stop and leave with their winnings, or play on. As I mentioned, Dan Avila was the only contestant to reach this level, and he was given a question with 4 correct answers out of 9 total. To further up the stakes, he was only given 30 seconds to come up with his 4 correct answers, and no buyout was offered after the 3rd correct answer was revealed. You may have noticed that Avila was actually playing for $2.2 million, and that's because in the beginning of the show's run, the top prize was actually a progressive jackpot that grew by an additional $50,000 for each game it wasn't won. Once the jackpot reached just over $2.5 million, however, Greed became Greed the Series, as it was picked up as a regular show in Fox's lineup, and the top prize reverted back to a flat $2 million. In the middle of the show's run, Greed began bringing back some of its most memorable contestants and biggest winners for what was called a $1 million moment. 8 contestants returned to the show over 4 episodes. 2 of them would face off in a Terminator-style question, and the winner would be given a $1 million question in which they'd attempt to answer by themselves. The only contestant who successfully answered this question and won the $1 million bonus was one of Avila's teammates, Curtis Warren.
For the million, is it? Call for it. Come on, call for it.
Give me the Beverly Hillbillies.
Which brought his total winnings on Greed to $1,410,000, making him the biggest winner in the history of American game shows at the time. Finally, toward the end of the show's run, Greed became Super Greed for 5 episodes, as the top prize doubled to an unprecedented $4 million. The qualifying question was eliminated, and the prize values from questions 6 through 8 were doubled, offering $1 million, $2 million, and $4 million. And for the first time in Greed history, a safety net was available. Once the team decided to play for $2 million, the contestants were guaranteed their share of a $200,000 prize. One team led by Phyllis Harris and featuring David Juliano and Lauren Griswold actually managed to make it to the $2 million level, and get all 4 correct answers. But all 3 decided to take their winnings and walk away without going for the $4 million prize. After 5 Super Greed episodes, the show did a college special, which gave us this beautiful moment.
I'm sorry, Dan's a good guy, but I'm gonna have to reject that one. Give me Wheel of Fortune, Pat.
I felt a knife go right through my heart, ladies and gentlemen. You see, before you were, I used to host that show. I was the original.
That was a little before my time.
Yeah, that's right. Excuse me, I'd like to use my freebie now. It gets rid of 1 contestant. Is it Wheel of Fortune?
Greed then reverted back to the regular format until its final episode on July 14th, 2000. And while the show never quite equaled Millionaire's hype, I still believe Fox pulled the plug way too early. It was a decent trivia game that incorporated multiple aspects of strategy and a record-setting top prize. What more could you want? Like Millionaire, Greed would go on to be adapted in several other countries around the world, including the UK, where it was hosted by Jerry Springer. Yep, that's right, Jerry Springer. Turns out Baggage wasn't his first attempt at hosting a game show. The most successful team on the UK version was led by Sean Wallace, who captained his team to £250,000, and would later go on to appear as one of the chasers on the UK version of The Chase. In January 2002, the Game Show Network acquired the rights to air reruns of Greed, and they even developed an interactive play-along sweepstakes for their website. So despite there only ever being 44 episodes, the show did get a bit of a second life on GSN. But I have to say, the game show genre as a whole has been given new life in recent years. And I'm talking about primetime television. ABC has their massive fun and games lineup, which includes Millionaire, by the way. NBC brought back The Weakest Link, and Fox just brought back Name That Tune. So if anyone from Fox happens to be watching this video, game shows are only continuing to grow in popularity. And I'm biased because Greed is one of my all-time favorites, but I've been holding out hope that this show will be revived one day. So hey, if you're looking for something else to help you take on ABC's lineup, this might just be your best bet. Thanks for watching. But seriously, come on Fox, what other game show are you going to bring back? The Chamber?
This is The Chamber. Once someone enters, there is no turning back.